Hello and welcome back to another Stoke Fan TV podcast episode with myself, Max.
And me, Sam.
That's right, and tonight we are joined by two special guests. We've got Hoppo, who's a regular on the channel. You've seen him many a time, and we're joined tonight for his first podcast episode by Tom. So welcome both to the podcast. I should just mention, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like and a subscription as well, if you would. It's much appreciated. And if you're listening on Spotify, well, give us a follow on that as well. Right, okay. Gentlemen, tonight's show, as the transfer window has ended, I think we'll be asking the question, have Stoke had a good January transfer window, a bad January transfer window, or somewhere a little bit in between? What do we think? Sam, I'm going to throw this over to you. You look happier this week, Sam, than you did in last week's episode. Obviously, Stoke won since the last time. What do you think, mate? Do you think they've had a good, bad, or ugly transfer window?
I wouldn't go as far as say ugly. I'd say probably bad, borderline in mediocre. I'd say we've done all right in the players that we have brought in with Al Amadi and Wilson Esbern. I think they've played well since they've come to the club. I think Stoke fans everywhere would have liked maybe a couple more additions in the team, to be honest.
Right, okay. Well, that summarises what you think. Hoppo, I'll throw this over to you. What do you think?
Obviously, we wanted a better window. Everyone identified players we wanted. We was hoping quite a bit more, but I think, as we said a couple of weeks ago, it's a struggle, the FFP. And reading it tonight, really, we could have spent big and we could have got more players in, but it would be, at the detriment of a poor summer window. So I think they took further gamble. They bought in who they can. No, I've been cautious about it, obviously, and they called a couple of players as well. So it's kind of added to the squad, really. But obviously, we wanted more players in, but we just. I think they've done as much as they can in with the restraints of FFP, so it is what it is at the end of the day. It's not a good window, but I don't think it's a terrible window either.
Somewhere in between for yourself. And Tom, what do you think, Tom? Good, bad, or ugly transfer window for you this January one?
Pretty much echo the same sentiments as Oppo and Sam. I think we've had, especially with Al Hamadi and recalling Lowy, I think we've had a hand forced a little bit by Leicester recalling Cannon and Sheffield United deciding to buy the entire league. I'm not bitter about that at all, honestly. I think we've done as good as we can, bearing in mind the constraints that we've got around FFP and the players that we've got. We're not going to, looking at the squad at the moment, we're not going to be selling players to the levels that we were selling the likes of Suter or Collins for. So I think we've done as good as we can.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that there, Tom. Rumor was that we at one point had agreed to sell Berger. Apparently, did anyone else hear that? Is that true?
Yes, I believe that's the rumours. I think they'd accepted a bid, but they couldn't get a replacement. So, yeah, I believe it was on the cards. But I think maybe they.
Does anybody know what the figure was around that?
No.
The ones that were flying around Twitter was something like, people were saying 14 million, and I'm looking at it going, surely that's 14 million kroner, not pounds. In which case, it's about 1.5 mil.
If 14 mil, if I'm just going to ask you all now, if somebody had come in with a bid for 14 mil for Berger, would hands up who'd have taken it? 14 mil. Anybody? Would we have taken it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom, would you have taken it?
Yeah, myself.
Yeah.
Sam, would you have taken 14 mil for Berger?
Not without a replacement, no. But I still think that's a little bit of a too high offer for Berger, and it would be one that the board would struggle to say no to.
Well, I mean, it is interesting. We haven't exactly got a replacement for Berger, have we? I still feel that Berger, especially last season, he was it came good, especially towards the end, as one of our best players. It would seem, in my opinion, a bit daft to shift him on unless it's for unless it's for a really high price, and we've got somebody to come in. One of the names that was floated around that was potentially coming in was Schlupp, wasn't it? He was supposed to be coming in. Now I know that he's gone to Celtic, so we missed out on him. Is there anybody that we're really disappointed we didn't get in the transfer window? Tom, I'm going to start with you, mate.
I would have liked another centre mid. I would have liked. I think the biggest loss over the course of the window wasn't somebody that we signed, somebody that we didn't sign. It was somebody that we lost, and I think Cannon is. I know Al-Hamadi scored on his debut, and I know he looked a little bit of a handful on Saturday, but I still think that Cannon is he was the perfect number 9 for us, in my opinion. I think he looked sharp, he looked strong, he looked like his link-up play with the rest of the team was really good, and most importantly, it looked like he was enjoying himself. He looked every interview he did, every time he's in the media, all you see is he's got a massive beaming smile on his face. He really enjoyed his time here, and I think it's not somebody that we've signed, but it's somebody that we've lost, and I think that was a big one for me.
You're not alone in thinking that, Tom. There were many, many, many Stoke fans absolutely gutted that Cannon that we gone back to Leicester, and then obviously he's gone over now to Sheffield. But it was quite interesting to see. Obviously, Hamidi's come in, and we spoke about this in the last episode. We said, is Hamidi going to be one of the answers to Stoke's problems? Now, we started the last game. We actually started a game with 2 strikers. Ain't that interesting? Now, Hoppo, you went to the actual game. You know, you saw Hamidi playing up top with Lowe, and I'm sure you were singing the song that all the Stoke fans were singing. Can you just remind us how that song goes, Hoppo?
Oh, all about Cannon. You don't care about me. All I care about is Dali Andy.
Well, there you go.
Belting that out Saturday.
So what were your impressions on our new striker?
Well, to be honest, because they hadn't had a lot of time to play with each other, really. So, him and Lowy, and it was. Well, it made a difficult start to the game, but as the game on and we grew and got into the game, they both looked okay, really. I can see. I mean, don't get carried away because it's one game, it's one performance, it's one way. However, it was quite. I like what I saw. I do think could really complement each other once they get to know each other's game. And I think if you listen to Robin, he's hinting that in the post-match interview that he wants them to play together, which more or less said when they get to know each other's game. So, yeah, I think I'm quite excited, to be honest with you. I do think potentially it'd be a good signing, and you're linking well with Levy. Potentially, I really do. So, yeah, I think good start, potentially. I think, yeah. It's a good signing.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was good to see 2 up top. Sam, were you happy to see 2 up top on the weekend?
Yeah, it was great to see 2 up top. I think we worked well together. I think the way that Stoke played, they were just getting the ball into the box and making it difficult for their defence to get rid of the ball, and that was how they scored. And we don't see enough of it at Stoke, really, just getting that ball in the box and just trying to get the tap-ins into the... It's simple, isn't it? But we don't seem to do it. But going back to the 2 up front, I think, yeah, you could tell that he's not played a lot, but you can see he's got a bit of skill. And if he can work with Lowe in training and even Tezgel, as you just said, that's great. But we've also got to remember that he is only a loan player. So we can't all start getting too carried away with him because we've only got him until June.
Yeah, well, that's a very good point. It's interesting that one of the places or one of the positions I thought we really needed to strengthen this transfer window was in those wing positions. And we haven't signed any wingers, have we, this transfer window? We haven't brought anybody in. Do we now think then that the tactics are going to shift somewhat? If he is planning on playing 2 up top, is he going to start playing 3-5-2? We do seem to have quite a few fullbacks, don't we? I mean, this is an unusual position for Stoke to be in, considering that last season we relied on Jordan Thompson for a good part of the season to be our left back. Do we think that we've now going to change and move into a different system, and those kind of fullbacks are going to start whipping the ball into the box more? We're going to see more balls going into the box. Are we going to start seeing the Stoke City of old, where we start putting the ball into the box as much as we can? What do we think? Tom, what do you think? Do you think we're reverting back to form?
I think so. I always get a little bit twitchy when we don't have wingers, because it takes me back to the horrible days of Nathan Jones and 4-4-2 with Diamond. It takes me back to that horrible thought of, oh God, not again. I think from what I've seen of him so far, the new lad that we've signed, Wilson Asbrand, he's very good on the ball. He's very good going forwards. Defensively, he lacks a little bit. And I had the same impression with Bocat, and to a lesser extent Junior, until the last sort of month or so, where Junior's decided that he's prime Roberto Carlos. He sort of lacks a little bit defensively, and I think having three at the back will cover him. I'd be for it, especially having a sort of strong core. Now we've got Baker back as well in centre mid. I think I'd be okay with that, having sort of pacey fullbacks and flit it through that way and get the balls into the box. I mean, the other thing I didn't realise until the other day was Lowe's 6'3". How is Nathan Lowe 6'3"? That blows my mind, because you look at him, you think, oh, he's only 19, he's 5 foot, 5'6", 5'7", and somebody was saying to me the other day, oh, did he play with a big lad at Walsall? And I was like, no, he was half a foot taller than Real Matt.
He was the big lad.
Yeah, he was the big lad. So
when he went to Walsall, he was only 5'11", but it's all the Walsall takeaways. But I heard if you get a few of them in there, and you gain a bit. But no, I mean, I didn't. Do you know what? I didn't realise that. Did it, Sam? Sam, did you realise that Nathan Lowe was 6'3"?
I didn't realise he was 6'3". No, I knew he was taller.
I mean, I tell you what, it's a good excuse to get more balls into the box, isn't it? Absolutely. So what I also quite like is the recalling of some players. With one player we haven't mentioned is the recalling of Ryan May. Just shout out for poor Ryan. Didn't play a single game, did he, for Rapid? I don't think. Didn't play a single game. And, you know, he's come back to Stoke because he's a striker and he's injured. So he'll fit in really, really well, I think, with some of the others. We've signed another striker. Hoppo, who's this lad coming from the Baggies?
West Brom, I think Davis, someone called Davis. Yeah, they played. I think he had a trial the other day. They've confirmed just before we came on. It is Adriel Walker. Adriel Walker's name is. So they've confirmed that. Did a try, played the other day, 21s, played really well. I was seen enough to think, yeah, he'll do. So, for the young striker, scored 9 times for the Albans under 18s last season before slipping into that under 21 team this time around. So, Albion have got a good pedigree, good academy. They produce some good players there. So yeah.
So we've got him for the academy. We've got Curley for the academy as well, haven't we? We've penned him, haven't we? Is it a 2-year deal? Does anyone know? 2-year deal for Curley from United? I think it's a 2-year deal. So he's come in as well. Now, are we thinking Stoke are now thinking about the future? We seem to we've got all these younger lads in. Should we start integrating them into the first team sooner rather than later, Sam?
The problem that Stoke have got is they're already relying on their 2 best players from the under-21s, and now the under-21s haven't got any strikers left because they've had to come straight into the first team. So the under-21s are obviously lacking on strikers, so they're topping the strikers up so that when we need more coming into the first team, I think, to be honest. I don't know much about them, to be honest, Max. I haven't read into it.
Your mate Ennis has gone, Sam. He's gone to Blackpool. I think we mentioned it in the last show. What do
Yeah,
you think?
Blackpool have been looking at Ennis for a while actually,
Yeah,
and I think it's a good move for both teams.
he's only on loan, isn't it? He's only on loan. And obviously, another player that's been recalled is Baker. We're all happy about. Where was Baker in the last game? Does anyone know? Was he injured?
His health, illness, apparently.
Yeah, he got
He's,
flipped.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what though? It was nice. It was nice to see Moran score a goal because he's copped a bit of flack, I think, on some of the social media. Are we all Moran fans here? I quite like him.
But he started off when he came good, right, decent. He started. I thought, wow, this is fucking sign, and he kind of petered off a bit. But to be fair to him, under the manager pre-Robbins, none of them really was shining. He's copped a bit of flack, but really, it's probably the system. I don't know. It's going to be a little bit different under Mark Robbins. And I thought when he came on Saturday, you always want your subs to affect the game impact. And I thought he did that absolutely brilliant. Not just because he scored. Every single time he received the ball, he's turning, he's looking, he's trying to make things happen. He took a couple of players on, and he looked a real handful on Saturday. And he looked like he was really enjoying it when he came off the pitch. Obviously, because he was happy because he scored the winner, but he looked during the game, like when he's bumps, if he was really enjoying it. So,
Yeah.
I've got optimism there, definitely. I think he'd be a better player under Robbins.
Tom, are you a Moran fan? I mean, some people are, some people aren't. He's a bit of a Marmite player, I'm finding. He actually reminds me a little bit of Cundle. And some fans wanted Cundle back and some didn't. What do you think?
I mean, I think it was the same as Oppo. I was talking to him about it the other day, actually. He was saying when he first came in on Shuey, he looked a real handful. And he looked like he was that sort of player who could just change a game on his own. And then, obviously, in the Palak era, much like the rest of the team, he sort of died off. And I think he in a lot of the fans' eyes, he never really recovered from that. I was talking to my old man about it the other day, and he was saying that Moran reminds him a little bit of Glenn Whelan in that you notice when he's not there. It's not what he does on the ball. It's not what he does that you can see. It's what he does off the ball and the things that you don't sort of see, like the little dark arts that are in the background. And when he's not playing, you can tell he's not playing and you miss him. And I kind of see where he's coming from with it.
Well, he came on and he made a difference. So in the fact that he scored a goal, it was good to see him in that kind of number 10 role. Because I've always thought Moran's, when he's played in that out and out 10 role, like he did when he kind of burst onto the scene playing for us against Middlesbrough in the Cup, really offered us something creative going forward, and it's nice to see. It was interesting though because he subbed him off and he brought him off for a Tezgal, and we saw Tezgal and Lowe up top as a two. One of the players I think deserves a shout out from that game, who I thought was absolutely immense, was Seko. I think Seko for me so far, I mean, and I know we've still got a lot of the season to go. Since he's come in, he's been, for me, one of our best signings. Could we agree with that, Sam? What do you think?
Yeah, Saka had a great game. He's not got the consistency that we fully need from him yet. Obviously, he's come to the Championship and he's still learning about it and building strength up. But yeah, we had a really good game against Hull.
He did. He did. He absolutely. I mean, the amount of times he just pops up and disrupts the play for the opposition when they're coming forward, and just comes in and just puts himself in. He's a hassle. He's a hassle for them, and he can take the ball on the half turn. He's not afraid to come back and pick up the ball. So we've had, obviously, this window's gone. That's it. We're done. Considering the players that we've recalled, considering the players that we've managed to bring in, and considering the players we've let go, if you're Stoke manager now for the rest of the season, what tactics, formations and stuff are you using? going to start with Hoppo actually on this one. Hoppo, you've got that squad in front of you, right? Now with those players that we've mentioned coming and out. What do you play? What system do you play now going forward? You know, formations, players, that kind of thing.
I think Chucked off. I think he'd probably go three at the back.
Yeah.
He might mix and match it a little bit from game to game, depending on who we're playing. But I think he'll do with it. I think it's going to be the basis of it. He'll build three at the back and two up top around that.
Are there any players that you think need to start now, pretty much every game? And who are your key players?
To be honest with you, I'd start with the team that finished on Saturday. I really would. Definitely Louis, Almahardi, Rosie, I think, didn't do too bad. At the back, Shamadou coming to his own. I mean, that Wilson, as we ran with, I thought, started off, lost the ball a couple of times, but then really, really, really go into the game. Luke's absolutely superb. He can really cause teams a lot of problems. So I think he'll definitely, I'll be keeping him in the team. Sacco, like I said, I thought Sacco was good. Really, really good. So I think Berger as well. I've seen Berger last couple of games now really looking more comfortable, more happy. So yeah, you're going to mix and match your time depending on who you're going to play. You know, do you play two mass against the bigger, stronger team? He seems to get knocked off the ball a bit, but he is an unbelievable player. You know, so I think you just keep your build your basis. You've got probably options and players probably just mentioned. Them would be my number ones, and I'll build a team around that. Will I know we play.
Tom, I know you mentioned the dreaded diamond formation that Nathan Jones fell on. What would you play for the rest of the season? What's your preferred kind of formation with those players that we got? Is there any of those key individuals sort of thing?
3-5-2 wing backs. I think it's arguably the best formation. Then if we're in a bit of a pinch and we do need to sort of play a little bit more direct, we're in a better position then to bring a midfielder on for a defender and go full Mike Bassett and go 4-4 or 2. The only thing that I can't see for the rest of the season, I can't see where Bay's going to start. I can't see him getting a start now because if we do go 3-5-2, you'd argue that we're going to play with a defensive mid and then either a defensive mid and two sort of central mids, and we're going to bomb up the wing and get it into the box. But I just can't see where Bay's going to start in that formation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he played, didn't he? He played on Saturday, but there were so many times where, as you just mentioned, I sometimes think Bay this season he's kind of, I sense that he almost doesn't really know where he wants to play. I think he likes the idea of playing as a number 10, but I don't think he's very good at it. I think he's better as a winger, finding himself in the half space and driving through. That's a really good point. Sam, what do you think about like formation stuff going forward? You obviously just mentioned Beige.
Yeah, so when we're out the possession, I'd play 5 at the back. I'd do 5-2-1-2, playing down the middle. When we've got the counter-attacks going forward, or if we need to change the style, it would be 3-5-2, as Hoppo and Tom have both said. I think we need to focus on the defence and actually have players playing more defensively. I think the wing-backs need to be playing as more of a defensive wing-back and only running forward when there's space, because I think Stoke are quite guilty of having the full-backs out of position and then getting done on the wings by other teams. And obviously, if Stoke aren't going to play wingers, then we need to make sure that the fullbacks stay back in positions when we're like being pressured by them.
Yeah, so you're thinking more, you'd err on the side of caution. You'd say, 3-5-2, that formation lends itself to both sides of the game. When it's done well, it can be used to a devastating effect going forward and backwards. Whether Stokes players can do it or not, we'll see. I mean, it's interesting, though, that, as I said, we're now deciding on 2 up top, because is that the fact that Robbins has come in and he said, two up top, that's what we need to do to score more goals, or if that's what we need to do because that's the best option, or has he come in and said two up top because none of my strikers can play by themselves up top? None of my strikers are as good as Cannon. I mean, it's an interesting thing that I think. I think it's interesting. Right,
I reckon it's been listening to our podcast and heard Alan mention it the other day about having two up front, and that's why he's done it, to be fair.
Well, you know, what can I say? They probably tune in every week, to be quite honest with you, just to get the lowdown on tactics. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? Because we know what we're talking about, quite obviously. Duh. Right. Okay, gentlemen, I think we're coming towards the end of our show. We've been waffling on about Stoke City for the last 25 minutes, 25 minutes, however long it's been. I don't know, I lose track of time when doing this. It's great. But I tell you what, I think it was a much, much needed win against Hull on the weekend. I said it was a 6-pointer before. How pivotal is that going to be in the season? I don't know. We've still got a fair bit to go, but it's the start of something. Does anyone know, out of curiosity, when Manuf's back?
I mean, there was an update the other day, wasn't it? Yeah, there was an update the other day, but I don't think he ever said date. Did he, Tom? I'm not sure. He didn't really say.
I've not seen anything.
It was March.
Yeah.
Okay.
March.
So that could be a boost if he comes back at a certain point, definitely.
I'd like to see Vidigal play as well.
Well, we've just mentioned there, like, you know, we're not seeing that many wingers playing like at the minute. I mean, we have got wingers in the team, and we've got Vidigal, we've got Kumas, we've got Bay. Gooch can play on the wing, sort of, but I think I don't know. I think this 3-5-2, as you've all mentioned, as I mentioned, that could be the route to success for Stoke. Two up top. Well, hey, we'll see. Right, anyway, honestly, we must wrap it up now, gents. I really appreciate your coming. We'll try and do what we usually do. So it's goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
Who's next?
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Look at that. Like clockwork. Thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, don't forget to give us a follow. And we will see you all on the next podcast episode of Stoke Fan TV.